one person believes in God, and everyone believes in Lucifer. It's like politics.
So the great controversy is real, and you've heard someone talk about it that's on the other side.
And to these people, they are sold to the fact that Christ will not return to this planet with power and great glory. He's going to abdicate all claims to the planet, because the high priest once said that Christ will abdicate all claim to the planet because he knows that it is lawfully and rightfully Satan's. And at that time he says, so the priest says, well now, he says, for those of you that are new, let me tell you that this is the most feasible way, he says, to please the spirits, is to deride Christ and his people, you know, and his church and all that. So they sing out of Christian hymnals.
They didn't sing Christian words to the hymns, however.
Well, they changed a lot of them. Yeah. It's a form of blasphemy. Such as you see today in the rock music world. You see the entertainers, they have these crosses. The ladies got earrings, crosses. The guys got crosses. This is a form of blasphemy, a form of deriding Christ. You see. Spirits cause the people to do that, to find pleasure in wearing this type of emblem, which is the cross is the emblem of the crucifixion of Christ for the Christians. The master of my life has revealed to me that it is time for you people to become acquainted with the worship room of the gods, where they had the spirits that had materialized. They photographed them, and then they had paintings made of them. And there was probably about maybe 100 of those around the place.
So how did you feel when you walked into that room?
I felt that these people had power, and they had a lot of it.
Did that attract you?
Yes and no.
You had mixed feelings about it?
I had mixed feelings about it. Yeah. Because to a certain extent, things looked so good and sounded so good to us. But you see, I'd been brought up in a Christian home. My dad says, well, you know, if you get involved in wrongdoing, you're going to have to pay the price. There's always a cost for everything in this world. So this thought kept creeping to my mind. Just how far you go with these spirits before we start paying the price.
So it made you just a little bit nervous.
Oh, yes.
But yet you kept going back.
Oh, there was no way out. Because that's what we're told.
You knew at that time, yeah. So you were moving forward more on fear.
More on fear, yes, because the high priest said that the master had special plans for us in our lives, and that no one ever went into this society unless they were invited by the spirits. So that was made very clear.
In reality, Roger, you were chosen by high-powered demon spirits to be a part of their human, special, privileged group.
You see, these people in Montreal, the society, like the priest mentioned, there's thousands of spirit worshippers, you know, in different societies of spirit worshippers in this world. But he says, we are the elite. We know the real truth about the master and his angels. And they're not hideous-looking beings. They are gorgeous creatures. And from the paintings that they had on the wall of the walls of that worship room.
Now, when you would go to these praise sessions, what kinds of things happened at those sessions?
Well, there's a lot of success stories. The masters has done this for me and that for me. I remember one.
At what point did this demon worship start to affect you personally, Roger?
Well, it wasn't too long that the priest mentioned to us that the time had arrived for us to start trusting the spirits and give the spirits a chance to work for us. And there was a number of gifts that you could choose from. That the priest mentioned to us that the time had arrived for us to start trusting the spirits and give the spirits a chance to work for us. And there was a number of gifts that you could choose from. There's living his devotions and the worship room of the gods, and he will use a trance medium to converse with certain demon spirits that will inform him in regards to ancient history. And the man shook his head a little bit like this. His eyes went glazed, and he stayed at it for a half hour. And the spirit spoke to him. So that meant the spirit counselor. And what would you like to know?
And so he asked the questions of one of these human beings that was channeling.
Oh yeah, the voice changed and everything. The voice changed of the person completely. And
it identified itself as a spirit guide.
Oh, yeah. Spirit counselor, yeah.
Okay, a spirit counselor. And then proceeded to tell him all the events that he was asking,
yes.
Answer his question?
They had 3 major policies that were going to be followed. First, Lucifer says, we have to make sure that people, humans, get to believe that Satan and his angels do not really exist.
You know, Roger, that's interesting because a recent research study report that I read indicated that a national survey, I believe it's over 75% of people do not really believe in a real tangible devil. But there is one.
Oh, the next thing, the 3 parts policy that they had adopted there, the second one was to find a way of being able to get total control of people's minds. And that would be done by taking hypnotism out of the realm of the occult and introduce it as a new science for the benefit of mankind. They felt that by taking hypnotism out of the realm of the occult and introducing it as a new science for the benefit of mankind, they could then use people of great renown, educators, people of capacity, that would do great things, such as supposedly regress people in time to former lives. And of course, after the session is over, the person would not know a thing about ancient history. And the person she or he has talked about performing, certain deeds, let's say 3,000 or 4,000 years ago. But this was their strategy. Now, what this would do for the thing is this, that it would create in the minds of the general public, solidly set now in the general public, an unwavering trust in that great deception. So now this would be a way of de-Christianizing the Western world through the avenue of mysticism.
The 3 things were, number 1, that they did not want Satan did not want the human family to think that he or his angels existed.
Right.
The second point that you made had to do with taking control of people's minds.
That's right.
The third point was what?
Was to destroy the Bible without burning it.
Okay.
See?
And what was his strategy on that?
On that, it was very interesting. Because after the Great General Council, it was decided that Satan would tutor Charles Darwin personally in setting up the principles of his theories of evolution. He was tutored by Lucifer himself, the fallen Lucifer. And at that time, it was understood, Satan and his spirit counselors understood, that if a person was led to believe in the theory of evolution, it would, in his life, destroy completely the creation week of the Bible, the fall of man, and the plan of redemption. It would go with it. Anyone that teaches a theory of evolution is considered to be a minister of a great religious system. And he said that every teacher of that theory is recognized by the spirits as a person of great value and receives a very special unction from Satan himself, giving great power to induce spiritual blindness, to convince and convert. 3 capacities. is the grain plane, the master's grain plane, for harvesting the nations, for harvesting the multitudes of the earth into his cause, just before the close of the great controversy between the forces of good and evil. It's going to be done in a unique manner. This grain plane is going to take people are going to eat the stuff. Because it says spirits, demon spirits, will declare themselves to be inhabitants of far distant planets in the galaxies that are coming to warn the inhabitants of planet Earth of the impending destruction of the planet unless something seriously proper is done to avoid it.
Perhaps we need some outside universal threat to make us recognize this common bound. I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world. Just think how easy his task and mine might be in these meetings that we held if suddenly there was a threat to this world from some other species, from another planet, outside in the universe. We'd forget all of the local differences that we have.
On va revenir justement sur la théorie du genre, mais dans vos vidéos, vous utilisez souvent un langage métaphysique. Vous parlez de satanisme concernant la théorie du genre. Est-ce que ce n'est pas un langage clivant qui risque d'effrayer, entre guillemets, certains militants qui seraient éventuellement intéressés par lutter contre la théorie du genre, qui ne sont pas spécifiquement musulmans, voire croyants?
Et justement, ce n'est pas un langage clivant. Parce que je suis tout simplement...
Vous parlez de satanisme?
Oui, j'en parle, mais très peu, mais j'en parle, je l'assume. Je dis que nous avons affaire à quelque chose qui nous dépasse. Nous avons un ennemi qui nous dépasse. Normalement, quand on est musulman, on le sait. On sait que des forces hostiles, ténébreuses sont en œuvre dans notre univers humain. On le sait. Tous les jours, nous prions pour nous en protéger. Quand je dis « A'udhu billahi min shaitanir rajim », je ne suis pas en train de parler de Vincent Payon, de Najed Vallaud-Belkacem ou de Hollande ou de qui que ce soit d'humain. Je suis bien en train de parler d'une force invisible et qui est agissante dans ma vie et à l'égard desquelles je me réfugie en Dieu. Donc là, il n'y a pas de secret pour personne, en tout cas chez les musulmans. Chez les chrétiens, ça ne peut pas cliver non plus. Je suis simplement en train de dire aux athées une chose qui est importante, c'est qu'il ne s'agit pas de mener une guerre d'hommes contre les hommes. Il s'agit de mener une guerre unie parmi les hommes contre des forces dont vous n'avez peut-être pas conscience, mais qui cependant existent. Nous ne contrôlons pas tout ce qui se passe dans l'univers.
Alors, sur la théorie du genre...
Et la théorie du genre est un aspect, à mon avis, qui nous vient de très bas, de très bas, qui s'est saisi d'un certain nombre de personnes dans notre univers terrestre et qui en sont devenus les agents, parfois en toute bonne foi, mais il faut quand même que nous revenons, nous les musulmans, à réaffirmer en effet que le diable existe, puisque sa plus grande victoire quand même à l'époque moderne, c'est d'avoir fait croire qu'il n'existait pas. Moi je compte sur les musulmans pour qu'effectivement ils relancent l'info, le scoop, parce qu'aujourd'hui c'est un scoop, figurez-vous, oui, et ben le diable, le shaitan, il existe et il a ses agents.
Alors on va parler,
et il a ses
armées. On va rentrer dans le détail de ce diable, en l'occurrence la théorie du genre. Alors une question, donc vous avez une proximité avec certains groupes qui sont plutôt identiques.
Je n'ai de proximité avec personne.
Non mais d'accord, mais
alors moi je vais
non mais justement non, je ne parle pas spécialement de Soral, notamment de Soral, mais pas seulement Soral. Bien. Vous avez une proximité avec un certain nombre de groupes qui sont plus ou moins identifiés à l'extrême droite.
Alors quels sont ces groupes?
Non, Civitas par exemple. Civitas, oui. C'est pas un groupe, c'est pas des sociodémocrates, Civitas.
C'est quoi selon vous?
Civitas, c'est un groupe chrétien,
oui, et alors
dont la charte affirme clairement qu'il faut rechristianiser la France.
Et alors?
C'est une question que je vous pose.
Rechristianiser la France, moi je vais vous dire une chose.
Non, mais c'est une question que je vous pose. Est-ce que vous n'allez pas faire partie de cette rechristianisation, justement?
Non, moi je suis musulmane, hein. J'ai fait le choix de l'être et c'est vraiment une démarche, c'est vraiment une démarche.
Mais ça ne vous choque pas? Non, mais j'ai une question que je vous pose, ça ne vous choque pas? Non, mais justement.